One summer moment can change a child's life. Through Toys for Tots Give and Go initiative, your support provides books, games, toys, and outdoor adventures that spark curiosity, creativity, and a love of nature. Whether it's fishing, learning a new sport, reading under a tree, or playing with friends, these moments build confidence and lifelong memories. For too many children, those moments never come. You can help change that this summer. Visit toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots, delivering hope beyond the holidays.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
And welcome to this Sunday night. It's July 5th. We're still in July 4th weekend. Come on, everybody. Don't be a party pooper. Let's keep this thing going. I can't remember the last time we had this kind of an extended July 4th weekend where July 3rd turned out to be a Friday. Saturday's July 4th. So it kind of made for a lot of extra fun for all of us. And so I'm very grateful for that. Usually I pinpoint a number of specific decisions during this program, but because we have all these great guests this evening, I wanted to focus on one. And this was the one that we teased throughout many of these stations. Many of the stations you're listening to this program on, you heard my little review of a little teaser for this particular topic. And again, serendipity, I was talking about the Brooklyn Bridge and the three people who made crucial decisions to build this thing. And sure enough, last night, the Brooklyn Bridge was on fire, and it was a big story here in New York City. Thankfully, it was only on fire for a short time. No permanent damage. But I'm telling you, this is why history shows need to be live, because these things happen. Hopefully, I won't cause any other damage to this country with topics that I choose in the coming weeks. But all kidding aside, it is time very much to remember. It's always time, I think, to remember the tremendous sacrifice that so many of our innovators in this country have made for particular projects that have made our lives better and changed this country and made America, the decisions that made America. And could there be a more giving family in the way that they were dedicated to the project than the Roebling family and what they gave to the building of the Brooklyn Bridge? Now, for those of you who don't know, there was no bridge, no tunnel, no way to get across the East River from Brooklyn, which at the time was a separate city. Brooklyn did not become incorporated. As we call them, the five boroughs of New York City did not become a thing until 1898. Brooklyn was a separate city. It had a separate newspaper. That's why they called them the Brooklyn Dodgers and not the New York Dodgers, just for one particular reference. They had a paper called the Brooklyn Eagle, which was one of the leading newspapers in America. They had a lot of others too, but that was the one that really people remember. And to get from Brooklyn to Manhattan, you had to take a ferry. And there were a lot of ferries, and it takes a long time to take a ferry, and it's a pain in the neck and all that kind of stuff. And John Roebling, who was already considered to be basically the great engineer of America, decided to take on this challenge. And why is the bridge? Why are the bridges over the East River so challenging? Because the current is very strong. It's not an easy body of water, to say the least. And the whole process of building that bridge is it was incredibly challenging. Even the idea of drawing up the plans, and yet John Roebling decided to do that. And when you're an engineer and you're at the top of the hill, some people might want to keep that reputation clear. They don't want to take on a tough project. It's like wanting to become a head coach of the New York Jets. Do you want to take on this loser project, no matter how successful you've been? I'm only half joking. And so he decides to take on the project. So that's a major decision right there. The fact that he starts drawing up the plans, he's doing some surveys. But while he's doing a survey for this project and standing on a pier, basically on the docks, he's hit by a ferry. A ferry hits the pontoons, crushes his foot, and, say the least, medical care at that time wasn't all that good. And he dies. He dies from this accident. And it's pretty harrowing, to say the least. So he passes away from this, and then another decision has to be made. He dies in July of 1869, by the way, for those of you who are keeping score on the exact dates. Then his son Washington takes over the project, and he does indeed decide to do it. Now, he was an engineer in his own right, and he was pretty good, obviously, but still, big shoes to fill. He does so, but in the course of his very hands-on managing of the project and the many times he dives beneath the East River, he comes up too quickly, and for those of you who know where I'm going with it, he ends up contracting the bends, which is a very, very painful condition. usually leads to death, and in his case, it did. And so finally, it was time for one more member of that family to make another crucial decision, and that would end up being Roebling's wife, Elizabeth, who decided that she would take over the management role, but also learn enough engineering to be a knowledgeable manager of the project. And sure enough, the darn bridge was built. 1883, it's done, and it is, at the time and for a long time afterwards, the most incredible engineering project in all of the world. And of course, other bridges followed and tunnels followed, and then we got helicopters and all those other kinds of things. But this was considered to be an impossible project. And 3 members of the Roebling family made that incredible decision to go with it. 2 of them gave their lives to the project. It's people like this who make these kinds of sacrifices, not only sacrifices of time and money and effort, but of being willing to risk reputations. Sometimes people just aren't willing to do that. And they did that. And we have a tremendous, tremendous debt owed to the Roebling family. And maybe we should consider putting more of their name into the name of the Brooklyn Bridge. I don't like renaming things, especially when we're used to them. So I'm not saying we should rename the Brooklyn Bridge, but maybe putting more plaques on there, or just doing a better job of teaching our kids. And that's a great way for me to tease the next guest who's going to be coming up after the break. Alvin Louie is an expert on American education and American culture. He's going to join us to talk about our education system. Just recently, we had people in the White House explain that one of the reasons why patriotism in younger generations isn't as strong as it should be is because of our education system. I'm inclined to agree, but we'll let you decide. We'll be right back with Alvin Louie. This is Freedom 250, the decisions that made America.